We've addressed physical climate risks, but the transition climate risk is something that we still need to catch up on. There have always been challenges in terms of getting a business deal or getting a transaction which is compliant with all the norms that are required. Good infrastructure means good investments that comes, whether it's domestic or whether it's international funding that's there.
In times where ESG practices are redefining the future of finance, I have with me today Mr. Sridhar Sarathy, Chief Ethics and Officer and Head Sustainability and CSR, Tata Capital, who is ensuring that businesses are led by purposes and are making an impact. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes. So the first question that I would like to ask is that with the rise of investments products in the green space, what are the new financial products that Tata Capital is bringing up?
So Tata Capital is one of the largest NBFCs in the country. And when I mean by an NBFC, it's a non-banking financial corporation, and we are regulated as the same way by the banks, which is the Reserve Bank of India. We've been one of the pioneers in green lending. So as say in the early 2010, etc. We started off a pure vertical, which is only for green lending or our commitment to creating a better environment and a better planet. We call it Tata Clean Tech Finance, and today it's called the Clean Tech Vertical. And out there, our responsibility was to ensure that there was prudent lending to ensure that whatever lending that we do is responsible and the borrower is accountable for ensuring that there is no deterioration on Mother Earth or the planet as such. So far, we've done more than 20 gigawatt of projects, mainly to renewable lending, but at the same time, there's also two other projects which are for the better of the environment, which includes biomass, etc. But more importantly, we've also got into advisory services, which are very key because it's not about us alone. It's also about getting the benefit or driving the benefit to others to ensure that there is more green in green lending that's taking place. It's not only in the business lending that we've done. The clean tech vertical is definitely grown in terms of size, and today we are poised for another point in growth. And surely, we have much more miles to go, but we've come a long way. But it's not only about the lending that we've done. We also ensured that we do give back to the society, which Tata, the group, has always been known for, and that includes, for example, afforestation of forests. Deforestation is a word that we heard, but afforestation is also equally key. So getting into biodiversity, ensuring through the Miyawaki Forest Way, we've done that. We've also ensured for the society we get into off-grid modules so that where there's no electricity in far-flung areas of the country, they have 24/7 electricity that is there by pure solar panels and a switch. And we called it the green switch, aptly called it the green switch because the green power from the natural resources. And of course, water rejuvenation, etc., which is to ensure that we have a better planet. So we've gone a long way. We've ensured green lending. We've ensured there is an advantage to the borrowers and the stakeholders at large.
So the rate that you're lending to ESG compliant companies is lesser than what is to non-compliant companies. Is that
so?
Okay.
We, as I said, as I began, we are an NBFC and we are not a deposit-taking entity. So whilst we have accessible sources to funds which are at competitive rates, we also ensure that it's not only about the rate that we give, it's also about the advisory services that we give to the borrower. There are differential rates, but I won't say differential is a large gap, but the benefit of being compliant or exceeding expectations is always beneficial to the borrower because it also encourages a longer term relationship with the borrower. So there is not a marked difference in terms of the lending rates, but yes, whatever rates that we get from borrowings which are competitive, we do pass it on to the customers.
And what is the most challenging ethical dilemma that you've encountered while pursuing the sustainability goals?
Well, there are always dilemmas in business, whether they are moral or what you call it as ethical. But the challenge is always in terms of business vis-a-vis the commitment to the environment at large. So we've had innumerable cases, and I've personally been there. I myself was a part of the clean tech vertical. There have always been challenges in terms of getting a business deal or getting a transaction which is compliant with all the norms that are required. But at the same time, there is always a deterrent to say that whether there is any violation in terms of the principles of true ethical principles that are there, which can be displacement, for example, or of labor or or people or using children. So it is our duty, and I always call it is our responsibility, and we take accountability to ensure that the partners are in tune with us or the borrowers are in tune with us to follow what is expected. So these are always cases. So you will have a business case which is a large deal but may not be compliant in say XYZ. So for us at Tata Group, it's a pure no, or at Tata Capital, it's a pure no, because at the end of the day, we need to ensure that sustainability is embedded in the business. So therefore, it's a key for us.
So what ESG risk do you believe the financial sector is not yet prepared for?
I'll be a spokesperson for my company, but yes, I think it will be always the case for others too. But we are still evolving, and whilst we've come a long way, there is still a long way to cover. And one of the key challenges that has been there is we've addressed physical climate risks, but the transition climate risk is something that we still need to catch up on. And we've seen growth in the economy. We've seen multifold increases that's happening in borrowings. We've seen technological advancements. So we've seen changes that are rapidly growing. So therefore, we also need to envision what's going to happen tomorrow. So, for example, today this is a seismic zone, or this is a flood-prone zone, or this is a drought zone. But in the transition risk, that what's going to happen is something that is important for us, especially on the climate transition. And the regulator has been very supportive and has also helped us guided us as to what we need to be doing, and I think that's very important. Of course, we are strengthening in terms of infrastructure, the data, use of technology, because end of the day, data is going to be very, very key. Especially when you're lending, and therefore it minimizes the risk. So you're also building models, the risk models or the credit models, credit risk models, which are important. So as we know who we are lending to and why we're lending and what are the kind of risks that are there, what are the kind of climate risks that are there, what are the transition risks that are there. So you have one view of the of the borrower at large, and that helps us in.
That's indeed very insightful. That brings me to the next question, that what are the global best practices that you wish India also had adopted in terms of pursuing the ESG goals?
I'm a great believer in the India story, and coming from a group which has always believed in nation building, and it's an India first philosophy for us. So whether you look at technology, whether you look at talent, whether you look at people, I don't think we are lagging behind anywhere. What we may lack is in terms of a certain rigor and discipline which is required, and I think we will catch it. We still have to create a lot of awareness, and as a part of the panel discussion, I was saying one key trend that I see is the discussions of sustainability are not happening only in the boardrooms now. It's happening in the front line too, which means there is more accountability. All of us are taking ownership, and to ensure that there's a better sustainable environment. We've seen a lot in terms of the growth that is there. In fact, in the recent budget by the finance minister, she has also emphasized on what needs to be done for the renewable energy. And of course, once you have more of these, because India has got a lot of natural resources or natural sources, and I think we'll have to leverage that. For me, we are not far behind. I think the only thing that is required, including me, is about commitment and discipline, which I think will lead us to the next one. And being a young country, I think all of us together surely can.
Which is that one sector which is seeing a boom in the borrowing and requirement for capital, and you think in the
So when you
ESG
talk about
landscape?
growth, that's interesting. When you talk about growth, it's always infrastructure, right? So when you speak about infrastructure, it encompasses everything from roads, ports, highways, etc. And once you have that, then you're talking about investments, etc. coming into the country. We'll have technology. So it's an embedded development that's taking place. But infrastructure surely, because if you look at port, you look at highways, it's we're always growing. So the connectivity, last mile connectivity, all that's happening. So that is going to be the key driver for us as we go ahead. Good infrastructure means good investments that comes, whether it's domestic or whether it's international funding that's there. So I think that's important factor.
So my last question:
Sure.
what's that one sustainable project that you're extremely proud of, and that has actually made the on-ground impact?
If I look at it in terms of business, I look at two aspects. One is business. I'm giving back to the community. Business, definitely our clean tech vertical, which is only in the business of green lending. And so we've grown. We have a book now which is sizable, and one of the largest, if not the largest, in terms of green book. And I think that's very important, because we've taken the step when many others deterred, and many others could have. But of course, there was a commitment of all others. But I think we took the plunge first, and it's a matter of great pride for us on that, and we will continue because it's a commitment to the nation, to the environment, to the economy, and we will continue to do that. The other aspect is to ensure that everybody has electricity. It's a basic necessity, but unfortunately many of them are not connected, and therefore what we did in business, we transformed that into in the social aspect, what we call as a green switch. So we provide off-grid models, which is 24/7 electricity. More importantly, apart from giving electricity, there's a lot of rippling effect in terms of advantages. One is 24/7 electricity. You can draw power for sustenance irrigation. There are no, you don't have to buy kerosene. Which means there is carbon offset. You are saving money, which means it gives more free time to the woman and the girl child, which means education can be done. So it's a rippling effect by doing a small project, which we do in business, which we've done in the community. And we are extremely proud at Tata Capital of the projects, especially the green switch, what we call for the community at large.
Thank you. Thank you. It was indeed a great conversation, and it was indeed delightful to know your thoughts, your perspective. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you so much. Thank you.